Welcome to my YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, share, and drop your comments. Thank you.
In today's tutorial, we'll learn how to draft basic pattern for girls' dress. And at the end of this video, I will drop some measurements that you can start with if you want to go into kiddies wear. Now, for a cloth like this, is basically divided into two. The upper part we have the bodies, and the lower part is referred to as the skirt. So in this video, I'll teach you how to draft the upper part, which is the bodies. We'll be drafting for a 1-year-old baby, and these are the measurements that I will use. This is the paper that I will use. So the first thing is to fold my paper like this into two. I'll be drafting the front first. And since we are drafting the bodies is the shoulder to the waist. Shoulder to the waist. So the first thing is to measure from my body's length, which is my body's according to this measurement is 7.5, and I will add 1 inch to it. The 1 inch is to join my shoulder and also to join my bodies to the skirt of the dress. So instead of measuring 7.5 inches here, I'll measure 8.5 inches, 8.5 inches. So sorry, I didn't know that my camera was not capturing the lower part of my tape, but what I measured here is 8.5, which is my bodies, or my body's length. So on this line, which serves as my shoulder line now, I'll first measure 3 inches. Then from that 3 inches, I'll measure another 5 inches. From the point where I have my 5 inches, I'll come down by 1.5 inches. Then I will draw a line from my 3 inches to the 1.5 inches, just like this. So this is to determine my shoulder slant, and this is what I do irrespective of the age I'm sewing for. So the next thing is to divide my shoulder width by 2. My shoulder width here is 8.5, so I divided it by 2, which gave me 4.25. That is what I just marked. I marked it at the 2 points so that I can draw a straight line. So that is the reason why I marked it twice. On that line, I'll mark my armhole. So the armhole according to the measurement is 3.75. So I'll mark 3.75 on that line. And this is where I will now measure the chest. So I'll divide the chest by 4, which is 20 inches divided by 4. It is 5. So I'll mark 5 inches. And then I will add my seam allowance. Depending on the seam allowance you might want to use, but in most cases I usually use 1 inch. So I'll add 1 inch. Then I'll go down to my waist. This is the waistline. So I'll divide my waist by 4, and I'll add 1 inch again as the seam allowance. Then I will join the 2 points. I'll join the 2 points. Just trying to show you that is that first join is without the seam allowance. So now I'm joining the seam allowance using another pen. Then I will make a curve at this point to show the armhole curve. So just make a curve like this. The next thing is to work on the neckline. So I will mark the neck width. According to the measurement, the neck width is 3.5. So I'll divide that 3.5 into 2. I'll divide the 3.5 into 2, and that should give me 1.75. So I'll mark 1.75, which is my neck width. My neck width. But this neck width and depth depends on the style you are sewing. Now the depth is 2.5, so I'll mark 2.5. if the neck of your dress is closed, then you follow this measurement. But sometimes the dresses might come in with v-neck or a wide neck, so you just adjust it to your taste. But once you use this my measurement, subsequently you begin to build your own measurements, and then you will know how to adjust the measurements. These measurements that I use are not, they are not like it's not a rocket science, it's not for finer, because children varies in sizes. Like the measurements for 1 year for a child might not enter the another child who is of the same age, because it depends on how big or tall they are. But all these measurements are just for a guide. Is a guide that you can now work on. It's just like it's a step somewhere to start from. So you can just write down these measurements, and as you work with children, you build your own for your fashion brand. So this is just to help you start from somewhere. So the next thing is to cut out my pattern. As I said, this is the front. Then we'll now use this to cut the back pattern. Use it to cut the back pattern. And the only difference is the back neckline, and also the zipper allowance. The modification of the back depends on the type of style you are sewing. I'll just do a normal basic back pattern here. So I'll bring my paper, place the front on another paper. Then I'll modify the back. The neck depth in this case will be 1 inch. The neck width is still the same, and I will add 1 inch as my zipper allowance. Every other thing remains the same. So after cutting the back, then we'll go to how to draft a short gown, just from shoulder to knee. Before I now give you the measurements from I will give you the measurements you can use for a newborn baby to 12 years towards the end of this video. Let's quickly draft a short dress, a short gown for a 5 years old. The length is 25 inches. So from the shoulder, I'll measure to the bodies, and according to the measurement, 10 inches. So I'll mark 10 inches, which is the body's length, and that also is the waist. That is where the waist would be. On the shoulder line, I'll mark 3 inches first, just as I did for the bodies that I drafted earlier. I'll mark 3 inches, then from that 3 inches, I'll mark 5 inches. Then from the 5 inches, I'll come down 1.5 inches and I will draw a slant line to touch the 1.5 inches from the 3 inches. So after drawing this slant line, I will measure still at that point my shoulder width divided by 2. From the measurement, the shoulder width is 10 inches. I will divide it by 2, which will give me 5 inches. Then I'll go down a little bit and still measure the same 5 inches so that I can have a straight line. I'll connect the straight line like this, and on that straight line I will measure my armhole depth, which is 4.75 inches. So I'll mark 4.75 inches, and at that point I will divide my chest by 4. The chest divided by 4 is 24 divided by 4. That will give me 6. So mark 6, and I will add my seam allowance, which is 1 inch. You can use whatever seam allowance you are used to or you want to use. Then from there, I'll go to the waistline that I drew. I will divide my waist measurement by 4, and I will add 1 inch seam allowance. Then from that point, I will mark my hip line. Hip line depends on the age, but for a 5-year-old, anything from 5.5 to 6 inches should be fine, but it depends on the height of the child. So you have to get that by experience, or you measure the child. So I'll just come down and I'll put my hip line, and on that hip line I will divide my hip by 4 and mark it, and also add 1 inch seam allowance. The next thing is to connect from my waist line to my hip line. And as you can see, for children, most times their figures are not really distinct because they don't have bust. So most times their waist, their hip, and their chest is the interval, the differences are not that much. So now at this point, if you are doing a straight gown, you just come down straight. If it is A line, then you make it A line, depending on what shape or what type of gown you are trying to draft. Some hairline starts from the hip line, some will start from the waistline. So basically this is how to draft a short dress for for a baby girl. And for the back, the next thing is to the only thing you put at the back is the zip allowance. Then your neck also, you try to adapt the style, whether it is v-neck or round neck or whatever type of neck you want to use. So basically that is what it is. That's the front of the dress. Depends on what you want to achieve, maybe a line gown or a straight gown, a straight dress, as the case might be. Now, because the waist, the hip and the chest of children are not too distinct, that means the differences are not much. That is one reason why you don't add that. You don't add that to children's wear, to children's clothes, because they don't need it. If you understand the reason why we add that to clothes, then you will know that there is no need to add that to children's clothes. If you check my channel, there is a video of that manipulation on my channel. I will leave the description. I will leave the link of that particular video in the description box. You can watch it so that you understand why children wear does not need a that. Then also, I will upload another video showing you how to sew children gown, children ball gown. Ball gowns. So I will leave the description in the. I will leave the link in the description box also, so that in case you want to sew children dress and you want to know what to do or how to start, that video will help you to know what to do. Check the description box for the link to that particular video. And as I promised, towards the end of this video, there are some measurements. The measurements, like will I call it a standard measurement? I will drop some measurements towards the end of the video that you can use to start as a start point for your children wear. It is according to ages, but I must not forget to tell you that children their sizes are different. So if you have access to the kids that you want to sew for, it's better, or it's better you measure the kid. Then you can now use the measurements I will drop as a guide, just for you to be able to get the perfect fit. This measurement I'm dropping is not like a perfect measurement. It is just something I came up with over the years having worked with children. So it is but you have to build yours. It is just to help so that you can start from somewhere. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have learned something in this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Like, if you have any question, just drop it in the comment section. I'll do my best to attend to your questions. See you in my next video.